What's up, White Sox fans? Today we're going to go over the steamer projections for the outfielders for the 2026 Chicago White Sox, including Luisangel Acuña, stolen base leader, low home run totals out of the outfielders, and an expected rotating cast of characters. But first, if you're ready for White Sox baseball, hit that like button and then go ahead and comment "Go Sox" down below. It really helps us out as we get this page going. Let's get started here with Luisangel Acuña. Luisangel Acuña is an interesting player that the White Sox acquired in the Luis Robert Jr. trade from the Mets. He is a fast guy who's played all over the field, but the White Sox expect him to be their starting center fielder the majority of the time. Bruce Levine of 670 The Score reported over the weekend that the White Sox expect him to be near the top of the order, and they want him to get around 500 at-bats being the primary center fielder. Now, having said that, the projections don't agree with that. Steamer projects Luisangel Acuña to play 88 games with a 258 batting average, score 36 runs with 18 stolen bases and a 1.0 WAR. I think if we see him play that 110, 120 plus games, that stolen base number could be 25, 30 if we're looking at the best case. He does not have a whole lot of pop, but he can get on base at a decent clip. He's very fast, so he's able to play center field, and he's able to do some damage on the bases when he's on. He's got a decent batting eye, so he should walk some, but I wouldn't expect him to be a super high walk guy either. Low home run totals across the board in the outfield are projected, with Andrew Benintendi expected to lead the White Sox in homers with 13. Now, I know White Sox fans, we're not super high on Andrew Benintendi these days, but because he is the highest paid player on the team and the highest paid player in franchise history, I would expect to see him in the lineup more often than not. Steamer projects Benintendi to play 105 games with a 253 batting average, 13 home runs, 50 RBIs, and a 0.5 WAR. The other guy that will be sharing some time in the corner outfield is Austin Hayes. Steamer also projects him to be a part-time player. You'll notice this is a theme across the board when it comes to White Sox outfielders. They project him to play 89 games with a 241 batting average, 11 home runs, 42 RBIs, and a 0.3 WAR. We've seen Austin Hayes hit a couple of home runs in spring already off the Chicago Cubs pitchers, which, even if it's just spring training, is always fun to see. But I would expect Austin Hayes to be a lefty masher. That's what he's been in his career. He's just under league average against right-handed pitching, but is 20% above average against lefties. The White Sox have quite a few tough lefties in their division. The Tigers' rotation has two of them in Tariq Skubal and Framber Valdez. And I think that Austin Hayes is a guy that he can really show off against left-handed pitchers, as he has shown in his career. So it's possible that we only see him play against lefties, but as we're gonna talk about, the White Sox outfielders, there's no studs anywhere around the field. So because of that, I do think Austin Hayes is going to play more than just against lefties, which should bump his games played numbers into the triple digits. Hopefully he's able to parlay that into more of his Baltimore time, where he was a pretty good home run hitter, and maybe we can see him creep up near 20 homers. The White Sox need more power. They've shown that over the last couple of seasons. And outside of Colson, Montgomery, and Mune, I don't know where it's going to come from currently as constructed on this roster. So Austin Hayes, if he could creep up towards 20, if Benintendi could hit 15 to 20, that would really help the White Sox score more runs for their starting pitchers. Please share and subscribe to this page. Just another year, Chicago White Sox. Our first goal is 100 subscribers. We need 62 to get there. It would really help us out a lot if you could press that subscribe button after or before you press the like and comment button. Now, there's really a rotating cast of outfielders expected for the White Sox this season, Brooks Baldwin has the fourth most projected games played of any of the outfielders. And then there's a rotating cast on top of that of players that the projections seem to think are going to be making their way between Charlotte and Chicago. Brooks Baldwin projected to play 75 games, hit 252, 10 home runs, 35 RBIs, a 0.9 WAR. Now, Beeflove of the 108 crew has started calling Brooks Baldwin White Lurie. I think he's got more upside than Lurie Garcia, but the way he plays now, I can see the comparison. So I think what we're going to need to see out of Brooks Baldwin is some improvement in defense specifically. He hasn't looked great in the outfield, and in order for him to play 80 to 90 games in the outfield, we're going to need to see that improve. Then there's the also-rans. Pereira, Peters, Kelenic, and Hill. They're all projected to see time, with Kelenic and Pereira both expected to play 20 to 40 games. I don't think we're going to see all four of those guys play 20 to 40 games. If we do, that means we're going to see some problems between Luisangel Acuña, Austin Hayes, Andrew Benintendi, and Brooks Baldwin. Because I think between those four guys, and then Braden Montgomery hopefully coming up in July, August, September, we'll see less of these quadruple A outfielders listed below. These are guys who have not really shown the ability to hit big league pitching. And despite the fact that Jarred Kelenic was a first-round pick, at no point have we seen anything that would lead you to believe that he can be a regular major leaguer. There's a lot of turnover expected, essentially, when it comes to White Sox outfielders. And I think that's to be expected when it comes to a team that doesn't really have a ton of studs. There's very few players that the projections have playing full everyday time for the White Sox. It's really limited to Murakami and to a slightly lesser extent, Colson Montgomery. I think that if we see this much turnover, we're going to not feel great about where the White Sox outfield stands going into 2027. What we really need to see this year is Austin Hayes provide that veteran bat, stabilize so he can play pretty much every day. Andrew Benintendi hopefully plays well enough to get himself traded out of here so that we don't have to plug him in and have a terrible left fielder playing the outfield. My concern when it comes to Andrew Benintendi in left, Austin Hayes in right, and Luisangel Acuña in center would be that the defense is not very good in the outfield. The last couple of years when Luis Robert Jr. is healthy, obviously that's not a huge chunk of the time, he was able to cover up a lot of bad outfield play. And without him out there, we don't really know what Luisangel Acuña can do defensively in center field yet. He's got the speed to cover a lot of ground, but he hasn't played center field on a day-to-day basis. So that'll be a serious question we have to look at when it comes to the defense in the outfield for the White Sox. It's important to remember that Braden Montgomery played at 3 different levels last year, and so he's not going to be ready right away to come up and help the Southsiders. It's going to take him some more at-bats, some more refinement out in the outfield, and just some more time before we expect to see him in Chicago every day. There's some hope there. He's shown some really nice things in spring. A little power, a lot of speed. He's got 2 triples already this far in Cactus League play, and he's really the guy we're looking forward to at some point this season to come up and give us some hope for 2027 when it comes to the outfield. But for now, we're going to just have to wait and see what those guys can provide. Hopefully, Luisangel Acuña can look like a true center fielder. And I'm really hoping Brooks Baldwin can make a good contribution and show some more improvement. I really like him as a player, but we definitely need to see more if we're going to pencil him in as a guy who is part of the next good White Sox team. As always, go White Sox.